A forgotten signal, buried deep beneath an icy planet, awakens after centuries of silence, triggering a wave of impossible abilities in humans across the galaxy. As ancient knowledge unlocks and powers once hidden begin to rise, humanity must face a terrifying choice. Will they embrace their true potential or become the very threat the universe fears most? If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video, and tell us where are you watching from. Now, let's jump into the story.
Captain Mara Lynn stood at the front of the oasis horizon, her gaze fixed on the quiet planet below. Cyros 9 rotated slowly, a lifeless world wrapped in thick layers of ice and rock. It looked like the dozens of planets they had scanned before. Silent, cold, forgotten. They had been exploring uncharted systems for almost 4 years. The Galactic Science Division had sent them to find anything that might be useful or interesting. But every stop had felt like another dead end. Until now. "Captain, we're picking up strange signals," said Leona Vale, the communications expert. She leaned forward at her console, her voice tight with focus. "There's something coming from the northern hemisphere. Low-frequency pulses, steady, rhythmic." Engineer Rafi Malik turned from his station. "Is it artificial?" Leona nodded slowly. "It doesn't match any natural patterns we've recorded." Dr. Nail Torin, the cognitive specialist, joined the group around the console. He adjusted his glasses and studied the waveform. "This isn't random. Something down there is sending out a message." Mara stepped closer. Her voice was calm but firm. "Scan for structural density. If something's under the ice, I want to see it." Moments later, the scanners returned the results. A massive object was buried deep beneath the planet's surface. It stretched nearly 20 kilometers wide, too smooth and too organized to be natural. The material composition didn't match any known alien alloy. And yet, there were hints of familiarity. "This can't be right," Rafi said quietly. "Those patterns in the metal, they look like human architecture." Mara stared at the data. Humans had only reached this part of space in the last 200 years. Whatever was buried here had been sealed far longer than that. "Prepare the landing shuttle," Mara ordered. "We're going down." The descent took less than an hour. Cyros 9's atmosphere was thin but stable. They touched down near the source of the signal, surrounded by endless stretches of cracked ice and frozen dust. The landscape was quiet, still, as if waiting. Rafi and Leona set up the drilling equipment while Nail monitored energy fluctuations. The digging was slow. The ground resisted them. 6 hours passed, and the sun dipped low on the horizon, painting the icy world in red light. Finally, the drill broke through. A hollow sound echoed from below. They had reached a chamber. "Captain," Rafi called out. "We found it." The team descended through the narrow shaft. Portable lights flickered on, casting beams into the darkness. What they saw stole their breath. A vast corridor stretched ahead. Walls of dark metal rose on both sides. The design was clean and sharp. Symbols ran along the edges, symbols they could read. They were written in old Earth dialects. "This was built by humans," Nail whispered. Leona recorded everything. Her fingers trembled on the camera. "But it's impossible. This place has been untouched for at least 5 centuries. "And yet here we are," Mara said, her voice steady, but filled with disbelief. They walked deeper into the structure. Emergency lights along the walls blinked to life as they passed. Power systems, untouched for hundreds of years, hummed softly. Computer terminals lined the hallway. Their screens were dark, but their design was unmistakable. Earth origin. In the center of the chamber was a raised platform with a single seat. It resembled the command chairs used on Federation ships. Mara stepped forward, drawn by instinct. Her hand brushed against the control panel on the armrest. The moment her skin touched the surface, a soft click echoed. Lights flared. Screens lit up across the room. A voice, calm and clear, spoke from hidden speakers. "Welcome back, Captain Lin." Mind Veil protocol awakened. The crew froze. "Did it just say my name?" Mara asked. "Yes," Nail said, his face pale. "It responded to your biometric signature." The screens now displayed diagrams, maps, and languages, both known and unknown. Some of the symbols made sense. Others hurt to look at, as if they came from thoughts not meant for human minds. "We've triggered something big," Rafi said. "And?" "It's not just local." Leona's equipment began to glitch. Her signals scrambled. Her recordings failed. "Captain," she said, "we're picking up strange energy spikes. The signal ... it's spreading." Nail tapped into one of the terminals. "This isn't just a facility. It's part of a network. And whatever we activated ... it's awake now." Mara stood silently, looking at the glowing screens. 5 centuries ago, someone had buried this place. Not to hide it from the galaxy, but to hide it from humans themselves. And now, the forgotten pulse had returned. Commander Julian Cass stood on the command bridge of Outpost Theta 4, the view from the observation. Window showed the calm rings of the planet Sirius below. But there was nothing calm about the reports coming in. "Commander," said Officer Lyra Den, her voice steady but urgent, "we're seeing unusual behavior among our human personnel. Performance levels are increasing far beyond normal limits." Julian raised an eyebrow. "Define unusual." Navigation Officer Sandre plotted a hyperspace route in under 15 seconds, Lyra explained. "Normally, it takes our computers at least 5 minutes. Coincidence?" Julian asked. Medical Officer Haina Rahl diagnosed a rare genetic virus without running a single scan. "Just by looking at the patient," Lyra replied. Julian turned back to the view outside. Something was changing, and it wasn't just isolated to their outpost. Meanwhile, aboard the Oasis Horizon, Captain Mara Lin and her team were still deep inside the buried structure on Cyros 9. The walls around them continued to glow with energy. The facility's systems were coming online faster than they could track. "Captain, this signal is no longer limited to this planet," said Leona Vale. She had connected her system to the facility's mainframe. "I'm detecting synchronization across multiple systems. At least 16 other locations are coming online." Engineer Rafi Malik tapped the terminal. "The pattern is too precise to be random. This was designed to spread. And now that it's awake, it's reaching out." "Doctor." Nail Torren stood near the central console. His eyes scanned the stream of data flowing across the screen. "These frequencies are targeting human neural patterns. It's not just communication, it's transformation." "Explain," Mara said quietly. "I think this place is changing how our brains work," Nail said. "Not adding anything. Just waking something up that was always there." Leona looked up from her station. "I've been reading alien languages without a translator. Languages I've never seen before. And I repaired a circuit by instinct," Rafi added. "I didn't even think about it. My hands just knew what to do." Mara nodded. She had felt it too. A clarity in thought. A sharpness in awareness. Decisions came faster. Connections between ideas felt smoother. Back on Outpost Theta 4, Commander, Cass was watching the same pattern unfold. "More reports from across Federation space," Lyra said. "Humans solving advanced physics problems without using formulas. Engineers rebuilding old systems using designs that don't exist in our databases." "What about our alien personnel?" Julian asked. "No change," Lyra replied. "They're concerned. Some are calling it a human-only phenomenon." Julian stared at the data on the screen. Maps of different systems lit up in perfect sync. It wasn't just happening. It was spreading. And it all started when Oasis Horizon activated the structure. On Cyros 9, in the buried facility, Nail discovered a file labeled Project Mindvale. "Captain," he said, turning to Mara, "this was planned centuries ago. Mindvale wasn't a weapon. It was a network built to restore human potential." "Restore?" Mara asked. "Why would it need to be restored?" "Because our ancestors chose to suppress it," Nail answered. "They didn't want humans to evolve too quickly. They buried this technology to give the galaxy time to catch up." Leona gasped. "You mean we were more advanced in the past?" "Not in machines," Nail said. "In thought, in understanding, in connection. They feared what would happen if we continued to grow while others didn't." Raffi pointed to a diagram. "Look. Here. It shows the network triggering when humanity reaches a certain level of technology. We crossed that point. And now Mindvale is active again. Back on Theta 4, Doctor. Ori Yen, a Federation neurobiologist, sent a secure message to Commander. "Cass, the data confirms it," she said. "The enhancements follow predictable neural pathways unique to humans. This isn't artificial. These abilities were always part of human biology." "So what triggered them?" Julian asked. "Some kind of signal," Ori said. "Probably from Cyros 9. It matches the brainwave frequencies exactly." Commander Cass frowned. "And what do the other species think?" Ori looked uneasy. "They're nervous. Some are calling it a threat. They don't understand what's happening." Aboard the Oasis Horizon, the facility pulsed softly. A voice from earlier returned. "Network link established. Node 16 online. Processing restoration. We're part of something massive," Mara said, "and it's only just beginning." Leona's screen blinked with new data. "Captain, multiple human ships are reporting similar changes. Their crews are adapting faster than their computers can keep up." "The Federation's going to respond," Raffi warned. "They won't let this continue without answers." "They may see us as a danger," Mara said. "Even if we're not," Nail nodded. "Because fear is louder than understanding." Mara stepped forward and placed her hand on the console again. The lights responded instantly. More information flowed across the displays. "Project Mindvale wasn't built for power," she said. "It was built for purpose, to awaken what was lost." The entire room seemed to listen. "And now it's awake," Mara whispered Dot outside. Across the stars, human minds began to see the universe in new ways, and the galaxy would never be the same. Dot. The council chamber on Veridan Prime was filled with tension. Lights above flickered as delegates from dozens of species took their seats. The Galactic Assembly had called an emergency session. At the center, High Speaker Zarek of the Sithin stood and raised his hand. "Members of the Federation," he said, "we face a crisis unlike any we have seen. Human enhancement reports are spreading, and no one can explain how or why." Ambassador Yella of the Urani Collective replied calmly. "They claim it is not their doing, that an ancient system was triggered accidentally. Then why only humans?" Demanded Minister Volth of the Krellin Union. "Why not our people? Why are they changing while we remain the same?" Tension rose as more delegates joined the argument. Words like threat, containment, and restriction echoed in the chamber. Meanwhile, on the deep space ship Nova Reach, Captain Emil Darren studied the latest data with growing concern. Every human aboard his vessel had shown strange improvements. Faster reflexes, sharper instincts, memory recall at levels far above baseline. And all of it had started after the activation on SYROS-9. Captain, said Officer Mina Stahl. Our astrogation. Crew plotted a course through a gravitational rift in under a minute. The same route that took Central Command weeks to approve. What's happening to us? Emo asked. We're becoming something more, Mina replied. And I don't think we can. Stop it. Across the galaxy, the invisible tide was rising. Human minds were changing. They were solving problems that had stumped experts for years. They were adapting faster than artificial intelligence. And the rest of the galaxy was watching with fear. Aboard Oasis Horizon, Captain Mara Lin gathered her crew in the main chamber of the ancient facility. The screens now displayed real-time data from human ships and colonies. The Mindvale network had spread to all 17 nodes. The awakening was no longer local. It was everywhere. "Look at this," said Rafi Malik, pointing at a display. Energy patterns across multiple star systems are now aligned. The signal is fully synchronized. Dr. Nail Torin added, "The network isn't just changing us, it's connecting us. I'm receiving thoughts and memories from other humans. Not voices, but impressions, feelings, knowledge." Leona Vale stood silently. She had seen the same. Strangers across space now felt like neighbors. Ideas came faster. Fear faded. Clarity grew. "This is evolution guided by design," Nail said. "Someone planned this long ago." Mara nodded. "And that someone was human." On Virden Prime, Ambassador Solon of the Merax leaned forward in his seat. "The humans are not using weapons," he said. "But their abilities are destabilizing. They no longer need our ships or computers. Soon, they may not need the Federation at all." High Speaker Zarek agreed. "We must act before balance is lost. If they cannot stop this transformation, we must stop it for them." In the shadows, military orders began to form. Back on Nova Reach, Captain Emo received a secure message from Earth Command. "Stand by for Federation inspection," it read. "Alien fleets are mobilizing. Stay calm, stay observant." Emo sighed. "We're being watched like we're criminals." "They fear what they don't understand," Mina said softly. Aboard Oasis Horizon, Nail discovered new files hidden deep in the system. "These weren't enhancements," he explained. "They're activations. The Mindvale project didn't give us something new. It removed something that was blocking us. Our ancestors were more advanced than we ever knew." "So we're becoming what we were meant to be?" Leona asked. Nael nodded. "Exactly. This isn't a threat. It's a return." But the galaxy couldn't see it that way. Across dozens of systems, alien governments sent ships to orbit human worlds. Their leaders demanded answers. They feared dominance. They feared the unknown. And fear made them dangerous. At Federation Command Headquarters, General Tarnos of the Lorak declared a plan of action. "The humans are moving beyond baseline species parameters," he said. "If they refuse to reverse this process, we must contain them." President Lena Morell of Earth stood before the council. "This change is not a weapon," she said. "It is not aggression. It is discovery. Our people are not attacking. We are learning who we truly are." But the votes were close, and the voices of fear were loud. Aboard Oasis Horizon, the voice from the facility returned. "External threats detected. Analysis complete. Incoming entities from outer galactic perimeter." "What does that mean?" Rafi asked. Nael stared at the screen. "Something's coming. Something big. Something the Federation isn't prepared for." Mara leaned closer. The display showed dark ripples moving from the edge of the galaxy. They were not ships, not signals. They were something else. "The Mindvale wasn't built to conquer," she said. "It was built to prepare us," Leona spoke quietly. "And now it's time." The invisible tide wasn't just a change in thought. It was the first step in the defense of everything. President Lena Morell stood before the United Earth Assembly. Her eyes scanned the room filled with delegates from every colony and human system. Silence hung heavy in the air. Outside, Federation fleets orbited the skies of 17 human worlds. Tension was thick. Decisions had to be made. "We did not ask for this awakening," Lena said, "but we cannot ignore who we are becoming." Across the galaxy, alien governments had grown restless. The Mindvale network had unlocked abilities in humans that others could not match. Communication without devices. Strategy beyond prediction. Healing without tools. It frightened them. On Verdun Prime, the Galactic Council had given Earth one final warning: shut down the network or face forced containment. The ultimatum carried threats of military action. Aboard the Oasis horizon, Captain Mara Lynn watched new data appear on the ancient screens. Energy patterns beyond the rim of the galaxy showed dark distortions moving inward. Not ships, not storms. Something different. Something unknown. "They're coming," said Dr. Nail Torin. "The entities the system warned us about. The ones only we can sense." Engineer Rafi Malik tightened his grip on the console. "We're the only species who can stop them. But if the Federation attacks us now, we won't have time." "They think we're the danger," Leona Vale said softly. "But they don't see what we see." Mara turned to the glowing command panel. "Then we show them." The plan was bold. Risky. It would require complete trust and coordination. The Mindvale network could do more than awaken humans. It could temporarily share perception with others. It could open their minds just enough to understand. Dr. Nail Torin worked quickly. He modified the pulse to transmit a limited version of the awareness to selected alien leaders. Not full activation. Just a glimpse. Just enough. Back on Verdun Prime, High Speaker Zarek received the pulse while preparing a speech condemning human expansion. What he saw stopped him. In a moment of clarity, he saw visions of the approaching threat. Entities made of dark matter and silence. Drifting through space with hunger that couldn't be reasoned with. Beings that fed on life energy and consumed. Entire civilizations. The same vision reached Minister Volth, Ambassador Yella, and dozens of other council members. For the first time, they understood what humanity had become. Not a threat to them, but a shield between them and extinction. On Earth, President Lena received confirmation. The council had withdrawn the ultimatum. Instead, they requested a joint meeting. A rare sign of trust. Aboard the Nova Reach, Captain Emil Darren saw the Federation ships pull back. Their weapons powered down. Their stances shifted. They were watching. Waiting. Aboard the Oasis horizon, Mara Lynn looked at her team. "They saw it," she said. "They know now." "But will they help?" Rafi asked. "Maybe not yet," Mara replied. "But they won't stop us anymore." The countdown began. The Mindvale network shifted into a new phase. It was no longer about awakening. Now it was about action. Human minds across 17 systems connected deeper. They shared knowledge instantly, developed technology together, coordinated solutions in real time. Ships began to adapt. Shields changed shape. Weapons recalibrated based on predictions of dark energy movement. Dr. Nail Torin led research on how to neutralize the entities. Leona Vale managed communication across thousands of channels without delay. Rafi Malik integrated old human designs with new technology, creating tools that could operate across multiple dimensions. As the entities drew closer, the galaxy watched in silence. On the edge of known space, the first encounter began. A small swarm of the dark beings entered a quiet sector near Polaris Outpost. Federation sensors failed to detect them. They passed through matter like smoke through glass, but the humans felt them. A pulse from the Mindvale reached the defenders. Within seconds, human pilots adapted their navigation to evade. Weapons fired using patterns predicted through shared consciousness. The beings recoiled. Not destroyed, but delayed. The next wave would be larger Dot in the assembly hall of Veridon. Prime, High Speaker Zarek addressed the council with new words. The humans are no longer becoming something new, he said. They are becoming what they were always meant to be, guardians. The vote was cast. The Mindvale Protocol would not be shut down. Instead, the Galactic Federation would support it, carefully, cautiously, but willingly. On Earth, President Lena Morel stood before the people. We were once afraid to be who we truly are, she said. Our ancestors buried our potential to protect others. But the time for hiding is over, not to rule, not to rise above, but to stand between life and destruction, together. Aboard the Oasis. Horizon, Marlin watched the stars shift slightly, not in distance, not in color, but in meaning. She could feel the thoughts of 1,000 minds working in harmony. We were never the weapon, she said. And with that, the network pulsed once. More. Not to dominate, but to protect.